times, which you're about to hear shortly. Welcome to our special place. At the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of the Quad Cities, we welcome all people into our beloved community of whatever age, race, class, ethnicity, physical ability, sexual orientation, gender identity, or religious background. We welcome especially those joining us for the first time today. We live stream our services, and those recordings are then saved in our YouTube channel, UUCQC. If you do not wish to appear in these recordings, you may sit under the owl's nest by the bookshelves. We invite everyone to join us downstairs after service for coffee, snacks, and conversation. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Certain kitchen objects become loaded with meaning in a way that we are not fully in control of. You can't predict which will be the utensil that you are attached to, your favorite mug, the spoon that feels right in your hand, and which belongs in the clutter. And then there are those objects that even if they were made in some anonymous factory and bought in some anonymous shop, they seem to carry some kind of magic. Good morning, my friends. I am Michelle Grove, and the fact that there was a loud or tittering of laughter during the clutter means that we all have work to do in our homes. I use she, her pronouns. And today, the words that I opened the service with are from B. Wilson's new book, The Heart-Shaped Tin: Love, Loss, and Kitchen Objects. It is a wonderful book. I highly recommend it. So today we gather to celebrate the memories we find in everyday objects. Even when they seem like they're a simple tool, it may be that it's a tool that is connected to a person, a memory, and a story that brings depth to the use or the looking of that tool. I hope today that we can connect with those stories, because when we do connect with those stories of kitchen objects, we might find that there are other objects that we connect to, including, here's some foreshadowing, objects within our own congregation. So, my friends, thank you again for being a part. Thank you for being here today. In a moment, Diane will light our chalice, but all that, let us say the words together for our chalice lighting, which brings us together. Food for us comes from our relatives, whether they have wings or fins or roots. That is how we consider food. Food has a culture, it has a history, it has a story, it has relationships. Thank you for that. My friends, please rise and embody your spirit, for we are going to sing together hymn number 123 in the Gray Hymnal, Spirit of Life. We will sing it through 3 times.
Please remain standing. One moment. Please remain lifted up in the spirit of love and fellowship. Let us now acknowledge the holy in our midst by briefly greeting those around us, especially those we do not know.
For that, I'm not flipping the same book.
No, it's okay. I realized that, and then I was like, oh no, it's me.
But you know Am I on? Let's see. No, 2, 3. That's me. Oh, wait. That's probably me. I should probably just do myself. Bring it up. It does, doesn't it? Needs help. There we go. Okay, I need to learn how to turn the microphone on. Good morning again. Hey, it's good to see you all. Look, I brought a box. And I was wondering if you knew what was inside without touching it or anything. Air. Anybody else have a good guess? What do you think? Bunny ears. Oh, now I wish I brought bunny ears. That would have been so cool. Very good guess. Anybody else have one more guess? Say it again. Like wires and stuff. No, it's a good guess, but that's not exactly it. Okay, y'all ready? Oh, wait, one more guess. Okay, ready? One more guess. Go for it. Books. I love books. There's no books today, but I might do that. Okay, so y'all ready? I'm going to unveil. Placemat. And then, look at this. You did not see that coming. I wish it were. And then, so will you hold the box for me? Thank you. And I'm going to put this here. And I'm going to So there are 2 teapots, and I'm going to leave them there to watch. One of them is shaped like a house. Let's see. Can you do me a favor? Will you pick up the teapot with a house on it? Can you show everybody? You want to pick that up so people can see? Yeah. That teapot was my grandmother's. Both hands. Oh, yeah, both hands. Good job. And you can now, if you want to put it down now that they've seen it, it's okay. Excuse me, it's okay. We're good. It's been through worse, trust me. That teapot was given to me when my grandmother died. My grandmother Grove, who was my father's mother, gave that to me because she never drank tea out of it. But whenever my daughter, who was only 2 at the time, would come over to her house, she would always hide coins in it so that Helena could find them. Isn't that cool? And so that's a teapot I never use because it's one that I look at, but it still has all those memories. And then the other teapot, see this one? I'm going to hold it so everybody up here can see too. See that? That is my mother's. And my mother is still living in Maryland. And this was a part of her wedding set. I use this one all the time. You can tell because of the tea stains. But this is a teapot that has memory, and I use it. The other is a teapot that has memory that I look at and cherish, but I don't use it for tea. And so I think that's something I want you all to think about. What are the things that you own that have special memories? What things are connected to people who you love and adore? Just think about it. We won't talk about that now, but I want you to carry that with you today and this week. And maybe have some conversations with your family around the things that are special to your family. Because even though it's just an object, it's not just an object. Blessed be you all, and thank you for playing with me. My friends, during this month, we have had the great privilege of really assessing all of our values and what has meaning for us in this conversation of what it means to be the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of the Quad Cities. Every week, there are stories that people are telling of why this community is important to them and why they are willing to even support it with their time, talent, and treasure. Today, we are honored to have Betty Murphy and Bill Preston. Thank you for being willing to share.
I need to lower that mic a little bit.
I can.
Oh, there you go. Can you hear me? Okay. I'm Betty Murphy, and I was raised in a very secular household. I was already familiar with the Unitarian congregation in Oak Park called Unity Temple, as my daughter and her husband were married there, and when I go up and visit, I sometimes attend services. I came to my first service here in December of 2021, and I'll tell you why. Early in 2021, during the pandemic, my husband of 42 years died of a massive stroke. It was unexpected, and it was the kind of stroke from which nobody recovers. It threw my entire life into reset. I had challenges that I had no idea how to deal with. One of them was learning to run a farm that I now owned. I grew up in a 3-story brownstone in Chicago, and I had never set foot on a farm until I was 30 years old. I felt I needed a therapist. My good friend Sue, who is one, couldn't see me because of ethical doctrines preventing her from seeing family or friends. So she referred me to a friend of hers, but that friend was doing Zoom calls, and I didn't feel like I could deal with a Zoom therapist. Also, other groups that I belonged to, I just kind of retreated from them at that time. My friend Bill here also lost his spouse in 2021 from COVID, and he offered to come with me to a service here. He's going to tell it a little differently, I think, but he offered. So in 2021, we attended together our first service here, and we were very warmly welcomed by Doug McCullum, Alice Martin, and others. We found Jay Wollen's service to be very inspiring, so we came back again and again. And I keep coming back because the people here are really wonderful. They're the best. We've made friends that we really, really like, and I found that the people in this congregation, they're smart, they're interesting, they're fun, and most of all, they care deeply about the interconnectedness of life in this community, of life in this country, and on this planet. This is a congregation of outstanding activism, and this is why I come back and why I love it.
Good morning. Bill Preston. I want to tell you one thing about Betty. She stands all of the height of 4'11". Her husband of 42 years was 6'2". I have a little different story anyway, but ages and ages ago, I came into this world in a town called Deadwood, South Dakota, a western community that was the home of Wild Bill Hickok and Calamity Jane. Shortly after that, my parents, siblings, and I relocated in a town of Nevada. I stayed there until I graduated from high school, then went to college in Rapid City, South Dakota, next to Mount Rushmore. I married, raised 3 children, and graduated with a degree in electrical engineering. After graduation, I went to work for Deere and stayed with them until I retired. After I retired, I taught at a special education school in Atkinson for 7 years, then went into politics. While in politics, I had a chance meeting with Betty Murphy and her daughter. They also were engaged in politics. We stayed in touch for almost 20 years, both serving together on the Henry County Board. In 2021, as Betty Murphy, my wife, also passed due to COVID. In late 2021, and this is where our stories diverge a little bit, Betty wanted to attend a service at UU and asked me to attend with her. At that time, I had no knowledge of UU, but I loved her, so we attended together. The members here, as Betty mentioned, were very gracious and welcomed us. We have established several social outings with a number of members, which we really, truly enjoy. As Betty mentioned, we are very happy here, and we have become members and intend to stay. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Barbara Thompson, a member of the Pastoral Care Team. As we gather today, we pause to reflect on what lies in our hearts. In this time of sharing, we take a moment to recognize our personal joys and sorrows and to read from the book of Joys and Sorrows those personal life events you have chosen to share with us. We have one joy today in the book from Alice Traylor and Karen Crouch. Thank you to all who made the community meal a success. Yes. Do we have anything online this morning?
There's currently nothing online.
Thank you. And we don't have any sorrows in the book either. So for what has been shared and for what remains in the quiet sanctuary of our hearts, we are grateful. Let us become aware of the energy that brings us together in beloved community as we share a time of silent meditation. May we open our minds and hearts to a place of quiet, to a silent prayer for the healing of pain and the comfort of love. Following our silent meditation, we will enter into a time of musical meditation when you are invited to come forward and light a candle. May we discover a sense of peace and fulfillment in the quiet, in the music, and in the light.
I invite you to hear these words from Tanya E. Marquez, who wrote a piece called Communion and Sustenance. My mom does not keep a recipe book. Every meal she made was made from memory and intuition. No measuring cups, only the knowledge of her eyes and hands that could measure the exact amount of spice and the ingredients needed for food. And her food was always perfect. When I attempted to learn her recipes, I asked her to teach me, and she invited me to watch her. But she would cook so fast that I would miss steps and ingredients. So I gave up, and I found it impossible to learn. Later, as she aged, I decided I needed to try again. This time, instead of taking notes, I decided to take pictures of every part of the process. She wanted to learn to make the enchiladas of her mother. Boiling to hydrate the dried chilies, put them in the blender with the clove and the cinnamon, add water, bring to a boil, some cornstarch maybe to thicken the sauce. Then work on the filling. The sweet smell of the sauce filled the air in my kitchen and awoke the memories of my children, who soon rushed in to find out what was cooking. This is a recipe from our region of origin, a recipe created in the valleys and mountains of the southeast part of Jalisco in an area near a volcano. It is a recipe my mother learned from her grandmother, and that my grandmother learned from my great-grandmother, and so on. I make it from time to time. Food is nourishment and culture. It carries the love and the wisdom and the stories of survival of a people. When I cook the meals I learned from my mother, I am in communion with life and with my ancestors, and I receive sustenance for my body and my spirit. Thank you, Tanya, for those words. So I'd like to begin my message with another story taken from a cookbook that is in production. The words go as such. There are many words that could be used to describe my grandmother: native West Virginian, Appalachian woman, independent, forthright, cook, broken, lover of family, lover of dear friends, a churchgoer, a gardener, and a dedicated community member. These are among some of the descriptions that come. But there is one description that always sat a bit sideways in my mind: teapot collector. How in the world did my grandmother become a collector of teapots? She did not drink tea. The only time I saw her make a pot of tea was for me, because it's my favorite morning beverage. No matter the origin, the truth is that she owned and displayed more than 100 teapots. Every year, she would invite particular friends for an afternoon teapot cleaning. I know, that's a good friend, isn't it? Someone would climb up a ladder and hand the teapots to my grandmother, and someone would be washing the teapots in the hot, soapy water filled to the brim on the kitchen sink. The shelves were dusted before the teapots returned to their place. I never attended one of these grand events, but I always imagined teapots stories filling the space with these busy workers. And my grandmother would say things like, "I've never bought a teapot for myself. Every one of them was given to me." And then she would say things like, "This one was given to me, my Helen, and this one, your grandfather or your sister. This one came from Bernice Clark, who has been my favorite friend for a long, long time. And then this one came from Greg, my youngest son. He saved up his pocket money to buy it for me when he was 12. And then she would stop because Greg had just died at the age of 20, and the grief was more than she could bear. My grandmother may not have been a tea drinker, but I am. I hold a vivid memory of a conversation I had with my mother when I was 4 years old. She was sitting at the kitchen table drinking a cup of coffee, and I asked her if I could try it, and she said, "Yes, but you're not going to like it." And I didn't. I have not had a full cup of coffee in my entire life. That memory was a life-changing event. But I do drink hot tea, and I find its flavors and warmth speak to my body and soul. Over the years, I have tried all kinds of tea, and I love them all. I love that 60-second steep of an oolong. I love green tea made with hot water at just the right temperature. And I adore a strong, deeply infused black tea with milk and a good English biscuit. Today, I count making a pot of tea as one of my daily spiritual practices. Every step of the process, from filling the kettle to adding milk and sweetener, is a moment of focus and memory. The first sip ends the official rhythm of my spiritual practice, but the depth of the meaning stays with me throughout the day. Thank you, Grandma, for the memories. And yes, I am drinking tea. Back in 1995, I actually had the opportunity to go spend a week with my grandmother in Berkeley Springs, West Virginia. I sat at her elbow, and together she and I co-created the cookbook, Eating at Grandma's House. Now that she has passed, she passed in 2009, it's one of my greatest treasures. The memories of that week with her, trying to keep up with the recipes, was a gift, and the storytelling was amazing. We self-published the book. I have a binding machine. We did it with our own printer, and she made sure that every household in Morgan County, West Virginia, had a copy. She was quite the salesperson. So I am now working on an updated rendition that captures those recipes that were not there in 1995 and captures the recipes of that growing family that she has, her children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and the like. So what I just read to you about tea is a new edition that will go into the new cookbook. And yes, I am the author. I am the one that does not drink coffee, and I hope that doesn't mean that I will be ostracized from this Unitarian Universalist community. There are some things that we're usually afraid to admit, and that's one of them. There is something about everyday objects like a teapot that are not just a teapot. They have stories, they have memories, they touch us at the deepest part of who we are. And it's not the object itself, it's what it elicits from deep within us and where that goes. So today I want us to tell a couple of stories. I'm going to come down to the floor, and while I had invited anybody who wanted to bring an object with you. If you brought it, would you hold it up? And let's look around. I want to see what you brought. Hold it up, yeah. See, look. Oh. That's a phone. You brought memories, didn't you? Uh-huh, you're good. Look, see? I have a few people that I talked to ahead of time who are going to come tell their stories too. Kathy, Ann, and Anne Marie, will you all come up and one at a time? You can sit here and then I'd like to hear your stories and if you would share them with the congregation. Anne Marie, do you want to start?
Sure.
Can you hold that at the same time?
I can't.
Okay.
You want me to do it? How about we just put it in here? Will it go? Okay, I can't. Okay, I have to, oh, there, how's that? Okay. My mother's instruments in her kitchen were a wooden spoon and an apron. And she lived to be 4 months shy of 101. So it took a while for me to even think I might inherit her wooden spoon and her apron. But what I want to show you is every time you walked into her home, she would be standing at her oven stirring something. And she would see you come in the door, she would hear you come in the door, and she would go, "Give me a minute, just give me a minute, come on in." And then she'd go back. And eventually my sisters gave me a wooden spoon and an apron because I was not inheriting her two objects fast enough. So these are my tools. And every time I use these, I think of my mom.
Well, I'm going to take you back in time. I'll tell you what those are. I'll take you back in time to the middle 50s. I was 7 years old. There were lots of kids, because I was in a Catholic community, so every family had 10, 11 kids. And you really weren't an individual. You kind of traveled in a pack, and nobody ever let you have any opinion about everything. It was like, sit here, sit there, stand up, sit down, totally, no opinion. You weren't even an individual. Well, anyway, one time I was at my grandmother's house, and my grandmother was a widow, and she lived with my aunt. My aunt was an old maid. She was about 30. So anyway, so we're there, and they're putting a meal on the table, and somebody asked me, "Do you want the Pinocchio cup or the Jiminy Cricket cup?" And I was like, "What? I get to decide?" And I was like, I'm here, in this moment. A light is shining on me. And I don't even remember what I picked because I love them both, because they're Disney glasses, and I looked them up and they're from 1940. So that's how old they are. I have a whole set of them. Anyway, things changed pretty quickly after that. My aunt, who nobody thought would get married, did meet someone, did marry, moved out of town. This part is a little bit sadder. My grandmother was failing and went into a nursing home not too long after that. She wasn't able to live alone. But I still remember that moment, and that moment of being seen. And isn't that what we all want, to be seen? And I don't even know how I got these glasses. I honestly don't. They're in my cupboard. I still enjoy them, but I really don't know how I got them out of all those kids, So anyway, that's my story for today. Thank you.
When Michelle, I'm Ann Harrington, by the way. When Michelle asked if I'd be interested in telling a story or a memory of a kitchen tool passed on, I sorted through the kitchen cabinets to decide. My mom was a genealogist and nothing got thrown away, so there were lots of things to choose from. But there were several that came to mind. A set, there are 8 tiny, tiny salt and pepper shakers. on a very, very fragile porcelain tray that used to sit on the table when we had dinner at my grandparents' farm in Aurora, Illinois. They were some of my favorite little memories as a child. The potato masher with a very splintered wooden handle, which doesn't get used much anymore for that reason. But the thing that stood out the most for me were the recipe boxes with the very, very old and sometimes newer recipes, which very fragile, very brown, recipes owned by my great-grandmother, my grandmother, my mother, and passed on to me. There are about 5 of these boxes, and as I've gone through them, a lot have the same recipes, so they may get sorted, but the recipe's fragile, brown, and sometimes almost illegible. The cards are small, sometimes requiring the recipe to be written around the corner, sideways. You just really had to be creative to get it on that little card. Caution should be taken when pulling a recipe out of these boxes, though, because you might find the window cleaner recipe, or the roach powder recipe, or the chemical garden recipe, or the plant food recipe. And I am not kidding, they are in the box. It took a while, and some of those have things like ammonia and Epsom salts and bluing agent and saltpeter, so they don't get used as much anymore. I think that's why I don't have a green thumb, is because I didn't use those. But there are some of my most favorite recipes in these boxes, and I am not a cook by any means. I failed my children by not teaching them how to cook very well. But there are some recipes that have become the favorites that will be passed down and that they know of, some that they don't know of, but ammonia cookies, and that one is a real edible recipe. The love notes, the cherry pie. It was just always funny, the things that they put in there. The haystacks, the porcupines. But one of my favorites is orange stuff, and it has a very long name, which I can't even tell you, but it got condensed to be called orange stuff. And it has tomato juice and sour cream and all of those things that aren't really very healthy for you, but that has become a favorite in our family as well. And I remember sitting with my grandma many times rolling up manicotti, and then also with my mother. So this box and the other boxes of recipes hold so many wonderful memories of time spent at my grandparents' farm with my grandmother. I didn't know my great-grandmother, but then my mother. I loved to be with my mom, so even if I didn't learn how to cook very well, just spending time with her and then having her share those recipes, and they will get shared again as they go down the line. So that's my favorite tool.
Hold up your things again. If you brought something, raise them up. Take a look around. See, look at the different things. Oh, I love this. I love it. And yes, photos count very much. So, my friends, here's the message for today to really take with you. Every one of you have stories, and I hope that afterwards during fellowship hour, you all share some of those stories with each other. Take your tools with you downstairs, put them in the middle of the table, and share with each other. Because the memories and the stories that you have tell us about you. And you are a vital, important part of this congregation. Now, let me widen this just a little bit. We have been doing some work with the strategic plan with this congregation. And one of the things that we have been discerning are what are the things that we value, What makes us unique and different as a Unitarian Universalist congregation? And what are the tools that help us live out those values? Sometimes we get them mixed up, but do we? Because as you can see, a tool has deep meaning. I'll give you a really good example. In this congregation, one of the things that I have discerned is that one of the tools that is highly precious for many in this congregation is this building and this land. And rightfully so. It's beautiful, and it has served as a beacon, as a place to gather, as a place to act out and live into our values. It is a place where you all have created amazing social justice action. It is a place where you have made friends and built community. You have laughed here. You have mourned here. And as we go into the future, it's going to be very important for us to understand how tools like a building help us live out our deepest values. So as we go into the next several years and we discern those values and the tools that we need to live into those values, I'm going to invite you to remember today, for a tool is not just a tool. The story tells us a little bit about what we value, and that is what we should hold on to. Blessed be.
This congregation is a theologically diverse religious community with membership open to all who are in accord with our values, mission, and vision. Our congregation is entirely self-governed through the democratic process. One of the privileges of our free church tradition is to provide all of the financial support for our many ministries from among ourselves. Generosity, therefore, is one of the spiritual values that we recognize as central to our personal and our institutional well-being. This month's undesignated plate offering will go to Kenna's House of Love, Incorporated. We invite you now to participate in the blessing of giving as the ushers come among you to accept the gifts of the congregation. Please be as generous as you are able. For all of the gifts of time and treasure that you give to this congregation, with sincere gratitude, we thank you.
It is always a pleasure to be together in community on a Sunday morning. And I want to lift up with deep gratitude, all the hands and hearts that make today what it is. So, for example, the people in the crow's nest, our sound, our music, the chimes, those working with our children in religious education, those who made food for us to partake later, it is a joy, and we are deeply grateful. One of the other, oh yes, let's do it. Thank you. Thank you for that. Also, I would like to give a couple other pieces of gratitude. One is to the property committee and all the volunteers who helped keep this place working and clean while our factotum, Jeff Danielson, was on vacation. My friends, you might not have seen it, but they worked hard and it made things happen. Can we give them a hand too? There are many ways in which you can gather to be a part of a community beyond Sunday morning. So, for example, if you would like, on March 28th, there is a No Kings rally, which will be at LeClaire Park. If you would like to be a part of that, I know several from this congregation will be there, and it is a way to put our values into action. And as I have said before, this is Stewardship Sunday, or excuse me, it's a Stewardship Month. We are done now week 2. So I have a report. Okay, so here, you ready? 2 weeks are left of the pledge drive, and it ends on Sunday, April 5th. Canvassers will be reaching out to anybody who has yet to pledge this week. And if you need a form, you can see someone from the stewardship team. If you are on the stewardship team, will you raise your hand? Look around. These are the people to help you out. Good. Some members can even pledge and get a form after the service if you want, and a deep thank you from them. Okay, are we ready? Are we ready for the number? Okay, drum roll, please. The number so far is $123,993. Yes. So the goal is $250,000, and we still have 2 weeks left. And there is still a match out there. So we had some generous donors who gave $30,000 to match any increase or new pledges. So if you would like to consider that, that's a way to gain that money. One more way to be involved that I would like to raise. Yesterday, Marcy Doyle and the social justice team hosted the Quad Cities Alliance for Immigrants and Refugees, and it was a training here held at this sanctuary spot. I want to thank you all for the work you did and for having that, because right now, a part of our living into our Unitarian Universalist values is being present and ready for those who aren't given the same rights that many of us are. And I watched that, even though I was only here for 10 minutes, I watched the magic happen. Anywhere along the line, you see a way to connect with social justice, whether it's a training, whether it's a meeting, and you are able to attend, please do. If you are on the social justice team, will you raise your hand? Okay, look around. Here are some people you can talk to if you need to say, hey, how can I be involved? Thank you, my friends, for all you do. And now I encourage you to stand if you're willing or able, and let us sing together our closing hymn, number 187, It Sounds Along the Ages. If you'd like, please be seated so that if you'd like at the end to enjoy the postlude. And as Diane extinguishes our chalice, let us join together in the unison reading. It'll appear in your order of service and on this slide. We extinguish this chalice, honoring the words of Thich Nhat Hanh. The miracle is not to walk on water. The miracle is to walk on the green earth, dwelling deeply in the present moment and feeling truly alive. May every meal bring you nourishment of body and spirit. May every pause to eat remind you of your connection to others. May gratitude be the only response for the gift of food and all the love and work behind it. Thank you, Tanya E. Marquez, for these closing words, and thank you all for being a part of today's celebration. Blessed be, and go in peace. I do now, yeah. The minute, the first chord, I'm like, oh yeah, oh yeah.
We used to sing this song a lot.